Wasser ist Leben. Ohne Wasser kann die Menschheit nicht überleben. Also müssen wir die Wasserquellen schützen. Jedoch tun wir gerade das Gegenteil. Viele Seen und Flüsse sind verschmutzt. Dies verursacht Krankheiten. Habt ihr gewusst, dass wir ohne Sumpfgebiete kein reines Wasser haben können?
Sumpfgebiete, die an Flüsse und Seen grenzen, filtern das Wasser. Ohne sie kann das Wasser nicht sauber sein. Nicht nur deshalb brauchen wir Sumpfgebiete. Lasst uns mehr darüber lernen.
Our lake, Victoria, is one of the fresh lakes in Africa and all over the world because of the wetlands that are surrounding them. The wetlands, they do a great job. There's that grass that works, that do the job of cleaning or filtering the water to the lakes. So when they temper or they destroy or they demolish the wetland, that means that the water will not be good for the community. Apart from the human life, they protect the wildlife, animals that are dangerous to the human being. They all be in the wetlands. So when they degrade them, that automatically means that we will be sleeping with them. Snakes, pythons.
Wetlands provide good places for tourism. Wetlands provide good places for research, for education. So wetlands offer a lot. So there's only advantages I see with respect to wetlands. But of course, there are people who say that wetlands are places where water gets stagnated. And when water is stagnated, for instance, in the tropics here, then it will be a good place for mosquito to breed, and then mosquito will give people malaria. So that's why they say we need to drain all these wetlands and remove all the water. There are many ways of ensuring that mosquito do not breed in such places. So for me, I see more of advantages of wetlands. One of the key importance of wetlands is flood control. And the way they do it is very simple, okay? You see wetlands, when water comes, they store this water. It's like a sponge. You know, when you take a sponge and you put it in a bucket of water and remove it, the water will move into the sponge. And this sponge will then release the water slowly, okay? This is what the wetlands does. When the rain falls, it takes the water and stores the water. In the plant, in the soil, it stores the water. Then when the rain clears, then the wetland will be releasing this water slowly. This is very important. Now when it stores the water, it will avoid flood. Now when it releases the water slowly, it will help in drought. Because by the time the drought sets in, wetland will still be releasing water and people will have water.
Our wetland is in central, where the land is on a high price. So all people are tending to come and grab the land. We have these hunters. They tend to burn the wetlands so that they can easily trace the antelopes for hunting. Sand mining, one major problem that the wetlands face. Garbage dumping.
There is a wetland here called Nabugabo wetland. This wetland offers a lot of services for the Uganda people. One, it controls floods. Second, it was controlling waste. And third, it was also ensuring that the water keeps flowing so that you can take the water to supply a Kampala. But over the years, people have encroached into these wetlands. The uptake of the water, the point of uptake water, they keep moving it inside the lake, which is very costly because they have destroyed the wetland, so the water keeps receding. Okay? Now, what is being done in Nabugabo wetlands, they're removing everybody. They have given orders, they're removing everybody. They want to restore the wetlands, so the wetlands continue offering its purposes.
The government should come in because they are the people to protect the wetland, demarcating the buffer zones. They should know that beyond here is a wetland. And we keep on, the government and the communities should understand the advantages of the wetland. So through that awareness, the wetland would be saved.
There are many things we need to do, but one key thing we need to do, how do we use the water? Because there's a lot of wastage for water. So we really need to use the water without wasting it. Even if it is agriculture, which kind of agriculture? Do we do this kind of sprinkling irrigation, or do we do this kind of where we pour water in the all space and most of them evaporate? Whether agriculture, whether in our households, the way we bathe, we need to stop wastage. Uganda has developed better ways of how you can do agriculture in harmony with those swamps or with wetlands. So what we need to do, the bottom line of what we need to do is first and foremost is to do what I call land use planning. This will direct where you do agriculture, where you live for conservation or you live for wetlands and issues like that. And then also having some guidelines, okay? There's this concept called Wetland Age Agriculture. There are guidelines of how you do that, which can help us to practice what we call sustainable agriculture. If you look at the wetlands, for instance, of Uganda or Rwanda or Kenya or Burundi, all these countries of the Nile, if you look at the way the wetlands are reducing, it is at a very alarming rate. The pollution in River Nile is very huge. Whether you want to look at it in terms of sewage, most of these towns along River Nile do not have effective sewage system. So all these find themselves into River Nile. There's a lot of need for technology to ensure that these wastes is purified to the right level before it's released to the waterways. This is why these countries are being brought together, okay? Because this river unites us together.
NBI, that stands for the Nile Basin Initiative, is a platform that brings together all the countries through which the Nile passes. Specifically 10 countries, that's Burundi, DR Congo, Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Sudan, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. NBI, as an organization, provides a platform for all these countries to come together to discuss, deliberate, and make decisions about activities on the Nile, how to use the Nile and its resources. One is water security. How do we ensure that people, this water available meets rising demand? Second is energy security, optimization of the hydropower available. We have also food security, ensuring that the food available meets, serves the growing population. We also have environmental sustainability. There is also climate change mitigation, as well as governance. That's bringing the countries together to manage the resources better. Dialogue is the key, because at the end of the day, if people are not cooperating, they will be fighting, they will be at each other's throats. But when you bring them together to talk, when you talk, you'll actually come to a conclusion on what the issue is. The knowledge and capacity building we've had in the basin among citizens. We've had 10,000 products, knowledge products produced so far. How do we ensure that this growing population has enough water to be able to survive for generations to come?
Sumpfgebiete sind essentieller Teil von Flüssen und Seen. Unverantwortliche Menschen zerstören sie, ohne über die Folgen nachzudenken. Aber zusammen können wir sie erhalten.
Dafür arbeitet die Nile Basin Initiative, die Nachbarländer zur Kooperation einlädt, und die Lutembe Bay Wetlands Community, die zusammenkommt, die Sumpfgebiete zu schützen. Denkt dran, Wasser zu verschmutzen bedeutet, unser eigenes Leben zu verschmutzen.